Hey guys, Toast here. Welcome to another episode of Custom Kit. This is a series where you get to select every facet of a custom kit, including primary weapon, secondary, grenades, gadgets, and melee, and I'll discuss the different components, my preconceptions prior to using the kit, and then my experiences after having used it. Today's custom kit is courtesy of Charles Fiore, who submitted the Please Buff kit. Charles wrote, the Please Buff Loadout. Primary weapon, Selbstlader 1906 Factory. Secondary weapon, Kolibri. Gadget 1, Medical Crate. Gadget 2, Rifle Grenade Smoke. Grenade, Smoke. Melee weapon, Club. You're a misinformed soldier who's using all the worst equipment in the game. Try to succeed with this kit. Charles, we need to have a heart-to-heart for a moment. How have I wronged you? What did I do to deserve this? I've managed to avoid using the 1906 since doing the weapon guide for it, and have been really happy to not have to use the Kolibri for, well, pretty much anything at this point. But unfortunately, this was the most upvoted custom kit entry I've ever seen so far, so I guess I'll have to take one for the team for the sake of entertainment. Now, as always, let's discuss each of the different components of the kit and how each one influenced my tactics going into this, beginning with the Selbstlader 1906 Factory variant. I've made no effort to mask my dislike overall for this weapon. The benefit of it is that it's capable of killing one player particularly quickly, which is great, but if you encounter more than one player, you're pretty much at a massive disadvantage. The weapon has a 5-round magazine and a very long reload time for a self-loading rifle, due primarily to the particularly long pre-reload delay and post-reload delay, which are the animations that take place before the actual rounds are loaded and after the rounds are loaded but before the weapon is able to fire. The weapon has a maximum damage of 40 and a minimum of 35, which means it's a 3-shot kill at all ranges, which is great for consistency, but it also means the only way to come out on top against more than one player is to get at least one headshot, otherwise you just simply don't have enough potential damage in a single magazine for more than one kill. Because of these weaknesses, I knew I had to play a bit more passively than I normally would with just about any other weapon. My goal was to place myself in situations where I had teammates around for support whenever possible, and try not to lead the pack on a push, which for me is a challenge. I also planned to be near cover at pretty much all times when firing, so that I could make the particularly long reload without having to worry about danger. Normally I wouldn't be as worried about some of these factors because I'd bring along a good sidearm, but that unfortunately wasn't an option with the Kolibri. For those of you who haven't had the opportunity to experience this little gem, the Kolibri deals 4 to 5 damage per shot unless you get a headshot, at which point it does 25 damage. This means that with its 8-round magazine, it deals a maximum of 40 if you don't hit any headshots, though it could potentially take out 2 targets theoretically if you hit all headshots at close range. The likelihood of that in any regular engagements in Battlefield 1 is just about non-existent. So here I am with a primary that I don't particularly like, and a secondary that's next to useless. Moving on to gadgets, the Medical Crate is useful for healing large groups, but less effective for self-healing or healing individual targets. This meant that if I took a lot of damage in battle, which with my loadout was pretty likely, it was going to be more difficult for me to get back to full health quickly to continue onward. As for the smoke rifle grenades, they can be useful for coordinated pushes on an objective, but they obviously offer no lethality, and honestly the area of effect of the smoke is, in my humble opinion, way too small to really make them a game changer. I do believe that if DICE were to drastically increase the area that the smoke covers, then it might be a much more useful gadget. Of course, to go along with that we had the smoke grenades, because I guess you can never have too much smoke, and the club, which really didn't bother me since I don't tend to melee very often. All in all, I planned on hating just about every moment using this kit. Now that's what I had anticipated based on the components of the kit, but how did it end up playing out? Well, let's just say that based on my predictions, the kit didn't disappoint. The Selbstlader 1906 made many engagements frustrating, where I knew that with pretty much any other weapon I would have been able to come out alive. I'm not someone who tends to go on huge streaks often, but I can usually hold my own in most one-on-one or one-on-2 engagements, which unfortunately wasn't really the case. I was able to get maybe a 3-kill streak prior to dying most times. Also, as expected, the Kolibri was just about useless. I think in the multiple games that I used this kit, I got about 2 or maybe 3 kills with the Kolibri and plenty of frustrating deaths. Because I don't really use the Kolibri at all, I didn't realize that not only is it extremely ineffective at killing, but it also has a particularly long animation when swapping to it, and a very long reload for a secondary, making it mind-numbingly annoying to have to rely on. The combination of these two weapons is enough to drive even the most sane Battlefield players to the brink of madness. The medical crate worked fine for what it was. It obviously wasn't as useful to me personally as the medical pouch would have been, considering how many situations I narrowly escaped without dying, but at least it was some form of healing. It was also nice to be able to occasionally do a set and forget with it near a group of friendlies to both heal them and pull in some extra points. The smoke grenade and smoke rifle grenade combo gave me a lot of cover, which at times was useful for my team to push up, but I definitely didn't feel that both were necessary, and it obviously left me without the opportunity to revive my teammates, a situation in which I hate finding myself, and without some much needed additional lethality to offset the issues with the primary and secondary weapon combo. In a nutshell, if you don't particularly care about your mental health, by all means give this kit a shot. But if you have any desire to feel like an even remotely productive part of the Battlefield community, I might recommend that you steer clear of this one. Thanks again to Charles for submitting this custom kit, and if you'd like to see one of your own custom kits featured on a future episode of the series, please leave a comment below with the details of the kit, and I'll select one for the next episode. If you've submitted one on a previous video that didn't get picked, please know that they're still in the running, but always feel free to suggest a different one as well. If you see a kit in the comments that you think is interesting, please leave a thumbs up on it. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, this is Toast, and I'll talk to you soon.